I'm Dave Berlin with ZDNet. I'm coming to you from Startup Camp in New York City. Standing with me is Nate Westheimer. He is the founder of BricaBox, and you're here at Startup Camp. You've obviously got something you're starting up. You're a founder.
Yes,
young guy with a Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
I can't argue with you there because
cheering for those guys.
Okay, and where are you from?
I'm from Cincinnati, so I was cheering for Cleveland, but I went to school in Boston, so I'll cheer for Boston.
And where are you based right now?
Right here in New York.
Oh wow, so it's kind of tough hanging around here.
It is kind of tough. I didn't put it on until I got into the building.
Okay, well, so BricaBox, tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing.
What we're doing is we're saying there's a lot of content out there that is being put on blogs and being put on wikis, and those aren't the right platforms for that content. So if you take lists of things, if you take directories of things that people are using wikis for, you can't draw any intelligence out of that. So at BricaBox, it's a new publishing platform.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
What's an example of something that somebody would put on a wiki or blog that it is inappropriate to store there in the first place, as you're pointing out?
Right, so sometimes restaurant reviewers, for instance, they have a blog, they're reviewing restaurants, and then they have a list of all the restaurants that they did. But there's no way of mapping all those lists, getting their users' feedback, and then ranking them according to what was most liked.
So what you're saying is, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you're saying, instead of having the entry about a restaurant be sort of this unstructured entry in a blog, turn it into something more structured, like you find in a database with some other data points that have to do with that particular entry.
And then it's a relationship that we have with our publishers, in that we're not going to make them be very, very structured. We still want them to take liberties. So we're going to use our intelligence, and we're going to use our parsing of their data so that we can draw intelligence out of what they're writing, but we're also going to ask them to follow some certain forms. What the end result is, it's a more engaging site. It's something that values content correctly. It draws information out of content that wasn't there by using APIs from other websites. So it's a much better solution for a lot of publishers who are creating this semi-structured content.
And what's an example of where you've applied this already? Yeah,
so one is, well, last night at the after party, I was talking to two of my friends. One of them's a podcaster, and one of them does a local food blog. So I stood there and I sold the same product to both people. The podcaster is a great example. He has all these great CEOs that he's interviewed. The number one, using a blog, the number one interview, the first one he did, is way, way behind. I'm never going to listen to that. But what if it was my favorite? What if it was everybody's favorite? That should come to the top. So for him, I can give him this platform. We can mash it up with a Technorati feed so you can see news about that CEO.
Okay, so you're drawing in data from other sources. You've mashed up some stuff. You're drawing in some Technorati statistics.
And then all of a sudden he has a very dynamic site where people can come and they can rate the interviews, they can comment on the interviews, rather than going to his blog right now, seeing the last three that he did, but never really getting to the other ones.
So if I had to kind of really look at something and reverse engineer.
Yeah.
If a bunch of people were publishing videos on the internet, and I was blogging about it, and I had one blog at a time about each video, but there was no way for other people to participate, add ratings to it, you didn't know who it came from. Right. I would go out and build something like YouTube that puts structure around all of that.
Exactly.
And now you've got something a little more structured.
So this platform essentially allows you to have your own YouTube, have your own Yelp, have your own startup directory, whatever it happens to be. It allows you to go beyond blogs, go beyond wikis, and have something much more intelligent that formerly only programmers could have.
Is it safe to call this a social database development platform?
You could call that. We don't say social because it's so passé now.
Okay. But to the extent that you can mash it up.
Exactly. And because it replaces wikis in some instances, because it does allow more people to contribute information. It's a community knowledge base, but with the structured benefits of all this outside information.
Okay, well, Nate Westheimer, founder of BricaBox, thank you very much for joining me here on
thanks so
ZDNet's
much.
Testbed.
It's been fun.
Okay, well, there you have it. You know, that is an interesting problem that has yet to really be skinned on the net. You've got blogs, you've got wikis, a lot of different ways for people to socially participate on the same content, but in a very unstructured context. This is adding structure. So I would maybe call it a social database, although I know how that could really kind of scare people away from what it really does. For ZDNet at Startup Camp in New York City, I'm David Berlin.